let's read a story that probably is the Bible's most famous ladder story. How many of them are there? Not many. There's not many. There might be more allegorically, though, than you think. We're going to explore a little bit. Genesis chapter 28, verse 10. Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. So he came to a certain place and stayed there all night because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and put it at his head, and he lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven. And there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your descendants. I want to pause here for a moment to make sure that we catch the details of the 12th and 13th verse. Very important for purposes of understanding this vision. He has a dream or a vision, whichever one you'd like. It says a dream. Is he asleep? It appears that he is. In either case, this isn't natural. This is supernatural. And the dream has a ladder set up on the earth. The top reaches to heaven, and angels are running up and down this ladder. We don't know what that looks like. Maybe there's some sort of staircase, but whatever the vision is, God's at the top, Jacob's at the bottom, and angels are going up and down, and the Lord speaks to him from the top of the ladder that he's going to give him the land that he's on. And before I read any further, I want to point out one thing that's very easy to miss, and that is that God speaks to him only of what's going to happen at the bottom of the ladder. God never speaks to him about what's supposed to happen at the top of the ladder. And yet when we preach spiritual ladders, we're always going up because we have this idea that the best stuff's up there. But in this story, the best stuff is being spoken as if it's going to be down here, not over there. God at the top of the ladder speaks to Jacob and says, I'm going to bless you there. I'm going to bless your descendants there. I'm going to give you the land there. And so out of the gate in our first ladder sermon, God does not say to Jacob, come on up. I got better stuff for you up here. Get on that ladder. Climb on up. Instead, God speaks to Jacob right where he is and makes promises to him right where he is, and promises that the stuff that's going to happen to him right where he is heaven downward, not earth upward. And so there's no challenge from God to Jacob going, come on up here, buddy. You and me. Instead, it's right where you are, I'm going to do this blessing. Verse 15, behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. Look at the phrase at the beginning of verse 15. Does God say, behold, I will be with you? No, God says, behold, I am with you. And again, God's at the top of a ladder, speaking down the ladder, not an invitation to come up here and I'll be with you, but rather, I'm already with you. 16, Jacob woke from his sleep, said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? And watch this statement. This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. And in spectacular fashion, Jacob hits on one of the most important premises in the Bible. That God has set himself in the heavens, not as someone to be ascended to, but as someone who has prepared the earth for his arrival, not us going up a ladder, but God coming down a ladder. I think Jacob nails it when he goes, this is the gate of heaven. And he doesn't say, the gate of heaven is at the top of that ladder I saw. I got to get to the top of that ladder. But instead has a revelation of God to go, the gate of heaven is at the bottom of this ladder. The gate of heaven is right here. And I think it's so easy to miss this. But from the very earliest pages of the Bible, God is showing mankind that his desire is not to bring you to higher levels. His desire was to come down to your level. I'm going to cut through the fat tonight. All right? Right to the chase. God is not offended by man. He's not turned off by him. He's not upset with him. He's not ticked off. The guy that's in this story just lied to his parents, cheated his brother out of his inheritance, and got kicked out of his homeland. And when God shows up to him, he doesn't tell him, I'm sick of it, I'm tired of your attitude, I really want to change you, get on that ladder and get to my level. Instead, he puts a ladder on the earth and begins to speak into the man's life. And how the man saw God was, this is the gate of the heavens. This is where I had my God encounter. And I wonder why we miss this as we work our way through the Bible, when this ought to set the precedent for how we see God. That God finds us in the middle of our problems, finds us in the middle of our failures, finds us in the middle of whatever's wrong with us, and does not invite us up the ladder spiritually. Clean up your life, get better, read more Bible, give a little more, witness a little harder, build bigger churches, go be a missionary to China, prove to me that you love me, prove to me that you're my child. Instead, he comes down the ladder, his revelation comes down the ladder, and the end result is Jacob realizing this is where heaven meets the earth. This is the gate of heaven. What if the gate of the heavens is not in some far off place, just over in the glory land? What if the gate of the heavens is the exact place you set your foot, that God has designed to come to you in the middle of your failure, in the middle of your problems?